sketchbook, ready for another month of drawing. Trying to find a new shortcut. Hoping I'm not getting lost in all these little alleys. Hey everyone, welcome to a fresh episode of SketchaLona. This is episode 2, in which I kind of show you around the sites in Barcelona while drawing to my heart's content and working on my comic book, Phosphor. Episode is going to be a bit of an update on the comic book front, but first I gotta check out this museum. I've been to this museum a while ago and it was literally 10 minutes before closing time, so I figured this Sunday I'm finally gonna check out some modern art, if you know what I mean. The last time I was in this part of town, I found an amazing vegetarian, vegan restaurant, which left me so full. I was actually kind of shocked, because I think vegetarian and vegan, I'm really thinking is like, you know, salads and super light food, but like it wasn't like that at all. It was pretty awesome. Today the plan is to head out for some tapas later on in the north of Barcelona with Javi, my flatmate, and chow down. So I'm trying to save myself. Where the hell does this lead? Secret passage. So this week's sketching has been pretty solid, like the week before. I got quite far in my sketchbook once again, but I've moved on from just pencils and trying to rotate a face, focusing more on particular parts of the face, so mouths, eyes, like different expressions of eyes, just eyes, like you know, if I have a second to, if I have in between phone calls, I just quickly draw some out and pretty good practice. But another thing I've been doing this week, besides the expressions, is I've moved on to inks big time. So, dang, the sun is bright. So, shouldn't complain. It's very cold in other parts of Europe where I used to live, so, and it's still a balmy 22 degrees over here. It's Sunday, mid-October. So I've moved on to inks. I've started going into inks straight just to see how good my drawing has become, actually, for real. It's a very different experiencing not being able to sketch and going straight in. It almost becomes more like chess, where I think a lot more about it. I've also been drawing on top of older sketches and being less precious about it. You know, I can take a picture and just move on. Got the pictures to look at. Another thing I've been trying to do is get back into digital inking, but I want to try out something different because I love my Photoshop, but I think it's good to branch out because one thing I noticed the other day was sometimes when I go digital as opposed to traditional, I draw differently. I'm in a different headspace, so I kind of want to expand on that by just trying out a really different program. So I found this one program called Mischief, which is vector-based, which is very different from Photoshop, from at least the way I use Photoshop. So this is what I'm gonna dive into, and I'll show you in a little bit. But for now, it's time to check out this museum over here. So far, it's modern art, as you'd expect. can see now why they cut the price in half. It's always good stuff to check out in a modern art museum. It's always stuff to make you think, but it's a bit samey and I don't know, not my thing. I think my favorite is still the a dinosaur museum I went to like about a month ago. Let me take you right there right now. Give you an indication of size. Does anyone else have this, like as a kid, where you thought the giant hole in the skull was actually where the eye would go, like a giant eye? Or is that just me? Time for the early morning commute to work. It's about 40 minutes to and back, and it's something I've been doing for over 2 months now, and it's pretty awesome. I rack up usually on average about 8 kilometers a day, and then my spare time walking, so that's another 4 for the most part. But feels good. It's just turning out to be one of those days where I keep missing all the green lights, you know? Unlike these guys. Oh man. So about that comic book. I've been writing Phosphor since, well, it's almost been a year now. So from a bare bone outline into a full-fledged story since a year ago when I started the 100 Days of Making Comics. Back then, my story was merely an outline inspired off a character design from a long time ago, and it kind of developed over the years into an origin story to explain a suit of armor for some kind of superhero vigilante who had a science fiction-y city all to himself. So I found my comic book to forgo superheroics and more a quest of some sort with ancient artifacts that would shed light on people's own history and change their perspectives, you know, the usual. Trying to cut down on the scope of my story by really focusing on the very beginning, the discovery by a group of explorers of some sort of legendary weapon or that turned out to be a biomechanical monster, I figured the tone I wanted, something that reminded me of certain video games like Bioshock or films like Aliens and The Thing. Once I concluded the source of my inspiration, I found a lot of ideas falling into place, and it really helped me realize what kind of characters and events I needed to kind of get things moving. So, focusing on a genre really helped speed things up tremendously. And before I knew it, I had a beginning, a middle, and an end pinned down. Shortly after completing the first round of my 100 days and starting the second round, I managed to complete the opening 10 pages, which I'll put in the links below. In the past month, I've taken the critiques of issue 0 into rewriting a new opening sequence. The goal I set for my first attempt was kind of to set up a mystery and introduce people and kind of try and hook the reader. And my new opening sequence will give a lot more breathing room, no longer being confined to 10 pages. And this time the goal around is more of a proper introduction to everybody, this group of characters and the world they live in. At the end of the first issue, I want readers to be more than just intrigued. I want them this time around to really understand like who's who and who's doing what and why, where they are, where they're going to go. And so when the original opening's mysterious wanderer shows up, you know what that means to all of them. And you know how it messes up their plans and how it creates conflicts and why they're intrigued by him in the first place. And that's even before we get to the discovery that they are going to make. So here we are. 10 months of writing. I think one of the things that definitely happens when you take quite some time, not just to write, but like to draw the pages and everything, like you become so familiar with your own story and your own characters, you kind of lose track of the fact that you've been living with these characters for some time and with their backstory, and that you kind of forget that everything that's like floating around in your head, you still need to actually get out on the paper, because the reader is kind of like, they don't know any of that. And so I guess I kind of need to just make sure I take the time to properly explain everything. What I've been doing in the past month is kind of making sense of everything in a different way. I think I've got most of the story pinned down. I think I've got roughly an idea of where most of the characters are going. There's a lot of stuff per page that I haven't thought of, like dialogue. I haven't written a script, at least not extensively, not extensive enough. There's a lot of stuff like that, but I kind of like keeping it vague. It kind of keeps it fresh for me as I do work on it on the spot. But I want to show you some, because this is kind of what I've been working on in the past few weeks. This is all my notes reorganized and somewhat of a mind map. And let me just zoom in. These are all the characters. You can edit all of this. This program is actually meant to be used to make text-based adventures, HTML pages, hyperlinks. You can add pictures, you can add animations, you can add sound to make it more of a point-and-click adventure if you want to. That's actually what this program is meant for. But once I saw that you can zoom out and you can just make connections to all these pages and then go into the page, it just kind of opened my mind to, like, this is a way for me to organize all my thoughts and connect everything and see how it connects to everything. And it's not just like having the characters and the plot like outlined from there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then you go into there and there's all the separate chapters. It's also things like the cover, page 1 to the back cover. Like I've got boxes for everything. Oh yes, everything. So it's been working on my OCD a little bit, but this is a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun working all this out, and it's been a lot of fun like connecting everyone and like writing down little bios and that makes sense, not just for me to explain to myself, but to explain it to someone else, and to kind of lay down like character development and who's connected to who, and then taking really basic exercises like, okay, so what happens here, and just writing down like a very basic like, well, so and so does this and so does that, and that affects this, and then realizing that every one of those beats is a scene, and is a scene that I need to make happen in order to explain this story to all of you. So that's kind of what I've been doing for the past month, besides honing my craft as an artist and you know, working on my faces and working on my inks and all the good stuff, all the more visually appealing stuff for YouTube. But yeah, I've been busy. Up the mountain we go, just for a little walk and get the exercise. See if we can make sun down. I don't think so though. I haven't done this in a while. I used to come here all the time. Like every weekend I would climb up this mountain, and I'm already out of breath. This is not going well. So let's go. So what brings me out here? Take these out. Well, unplugged from the matrix. For one, I've been sitting on my ass all day, and it's what I get to do now for a living. Sitting on my ass and staring into a computer screen. I'm pleased to announce that doing that 8 hours a day does not put me off from doing it when I get back home. But all the sitting down, not good for your health. Boy, not good for your health at all. So today I fell into the same trap, sitting in front of the computer all day, and I kind of needed to just get out the door. But then before you know it, it's 7 o'clock at night. So, you know, and that ain't too cool. Pretty good spot. Pretty good spot to go back down. So, not going all the way this time. There's just too many people around. Can't blame me. So I think I'll keep Holland, my trip to Amsterdam, for next time. Hope you tune in. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next week.